Hey friends, how are you today? Oh my goodness, I have no idea how I am going to get through this video that I am about to film. I've been thinking about this topic for months and months and months. In fact, I was thinking about filming something like this last September of 2021. So you can see how long it's taken me to get my act together. In the meantime, some of my lovely fellow creators have posted similar videos and inspired me to do my own version of this. And I think the reason why I have hesitated so long and or thought about it maybe too hard is that I have so many I want to put in this video that I worried it would be a 3 million hour long video. So I think I have cut it back to just 1 million hours, and I hope you'll bear with me while I share with you some of my very favorite Middle Eastern fragrances. Let me tell you something about the Middle Eastern fragrance houses. One, there are so many. I think YouTubers have just begun to sort of scratch the surface of the houses out there and the possibilities available. Two, many of the Middle Eastern fragrances that I've come across have been either highly affordable or very close to it. Three, the quality tends to be, by and large, in comparison to other markets, really, really good. If not highly decent, if not just plain out outstanding and absolutely crushing competitors in other markets. So the combination of price, quality, and performance is kind of hard to beat when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances. Now, to really enjoy the Middle Eastern fragrances, you have to be a little bit adventurous. One, two, obviously willing to experiment. That goes along with being adventurous. And three, and I mean this in a nice way, not be a fragrance snob. Not be the kind of person that only needs recognizable names from houses that cost lots and lots of money for you to feel good about your fragrances. So I hope that doesn't ruffle any feathers. Certainly I don't mean to. And if it does, I'm sorry, that's how I feel about things. So we're gonna go on and I'm gonna share with you some Middle Eastern bangers. Is it okay to use that word? So I can't go through all of my Middle Eastern fragrances. I have so many, we'd be here forever. But I'm gonna try to hit the ones that I feel passionate about and I think you should consider. And I'm gonna start with a house that I cannot pronounce. I think it is Borouj or Borouj or something like that, or maybe you don't pronounce the J and it's just Borouj or something like that. Regardless, I have 5 fragrances from this house and I can recommend them all depending on what you're looking for. My favorite from this house, everyone knows by now, is Gravity in the red bottle. The bottles on these are just magnificent. And when I discovered these, they were about $30 a bottle and they have shot up since then. So if you're interested, please take a look now before they get crazy. This is oud and sugar and woody notes. And some people detect some fruity notes at the top. Beautiful fragrance, definitely highly feminine, one of my favorites and went in my top 10 for 2021. I would also recommend Lamasat Oud, which is oud and woody notes and a very musky fragrance. This one comes in an amber colored bottle. Beautiful, very unisex, very woody. The third one I have is Perlador, which is more on the leathery side. This comes in like a goldish kind of bottle, amber goldish bottle. It's got sage and basil at the top and oud and leather and some woodiness to it. If I didn't know any better, I would say that this has some saffron in it as well, just a hint, and who knows what else that's not displayed in the note pyramid. But this is a yes for me. This leans a little bit more masculine than the others. Then we have Spiritus, which is in a silver bottle. This is, according to the notes, supposed to have vanilla and sugar in it. I don't get anything sweet out of this. I get like a leathery, crisp, a little bit. Do I get any citrus? A clean, fresh smell, almost in the spirit of Creed Aventus without the fruity aspects of that, the male version. So this leans masculine to me, but it has like a leathery, almost even like metallic, oudy kind of vibe to it. Very masculine. And the fifth bottle I have is Modernity in a purplish bottle. No one can find the notes for this. If you find them, please drop them in the comments. What I can tell you about this, I've had this as a scent of the day a few times now. It smells like a spa. It smells like shampoo. It smells clean. There's some hints of fruit and sweetness and something oudie and woody in it. But mostly I get like a luxury shampoo with a woody undertone to it. It's on the cleaner side. It's a departure from the other four and definitely worth getting your nose on. Next we go to Afnan, and I have 4 fragrances, one of which I am going to end up selling or giving away, and I'll share why. Not because it's a bad fragrance, but I have Her Highness Red. These bottles, they all look like this, the 4 that I'm going to share with you, and they're just different colors and marketed toward men or women. This is very fruity, very musky. It's salty and sweet at the same time. If you like Tibet by Tiziana Terenzi and you like that whole vibe, that like musky, fruity, salty kind of thing, you might enjoy this. I think it's absolutely beautiful and a very affordable fragrance whose quality is that grammatically correct? With the quality a lot higher than the price might indicate is where I'm going, and very long lasting, absolutely gorgeous fragrance, super high quality. We have another absolute beauty from the house, Her Highness Black, which is tuberose, jasmine, ylang-ylang. It's got some pepper in it. So it's very heavily white floral with some touches of yellow floral and that pepper that gives it kind of an exotic kick. Another one that's long lasting and a room filler. Beautiful fragrance. We also have His Highness White, which is marketed towards men. I find this perfectly unisex. It's a very spicy fragrance with a lot of kitchen spices like cardamom and nutmeg and spices like that, baking spices and so forth. And I get some woody undertones from this, maybe a little touch of muskiness too, but mostly spicy and woody and really delightful. Very nice, deep, spicy fragrance. And I love the bottle. I love how it lasts. This is a winner for me. And if it wasn't marketed toward men, I wouldn't know that it was considered leaning masculine. I find it perfectly unisex. Finally, we have His Highness Green, which I purchased not knowing if I would like it. I certainly think it leans very, very masculine. I gave it to my husband. I think it smells fantastic on him. He doesn't care for it very much. It smells to me like a traditional 80s men's fragrance. He thinks it smells a lot like Polo, in the green bottle, Ralph Lauren Polo. I can't speak to that since I don't quite remember what that smells like. I can tell you that this is spicy and leathery and it has some oud in it. And yeah, it does give me very strong like 80s men's cologne in quotation marks, as we called men's fragrances then, vibes. And it can be a little bit overpowering. If you like that and you want a powerhouse of a fragrance that reminds you of the green Polo bottle, if you know what that smells like according to my husband, grab this one. Next is the House of Ajmal, and I have 3 fragrances from them. I have Dawn, which reminds me a lot of Michael by Michael Kors. I have Sonnet, which gives me like good girl vibes. But the one that I want to talk about is Wisal Dhahab in this bottle that has like a Middle Eastern motif. This is a powdery, musky, fruity rose with some woody undertones. It gives me the same rose vibe, like a grown-up, more modern version of Tea Rose. Remember that from the 80s and early 90s? It's kind of like that kind of rose, but like it was modernized for the 2020s. It opens up a little bit fruity, and then the fruit sort of dies down and it becomes mostly a rose, musky, woody fragrance, which I think is really nice and different for your wardrobe, your fragrance wardrobe, I mean. Then from the house of Armaf, I have several. We've all heard of the Club de Nuit line. I have a few of those. I have one that I did give away, La Femme. It just wasn't doing it for me. It was way too light. I had to sell that. And I have a few others, but there's one that I really love, and I'm kind of mad at myself that I've ignored it because it's so beautiful. Some say that it is a dupe for Dior's Poison Girl, and it is Eternia in this really horrid bottle. I don't know who designed this thing. Boy, is it gaudy with the, this is faux leather, although you can't see it. And it flips open like a cigarette lighter. But what you get in here, and I should have put this in my vanillas video because it is a beautiful vanilla with citrus and tonka bean and other sweetness. I just sprayed it here. This is so friggin' intoxicating and beautiful, and it's like 20 bucks. It doesn't last super duper long. You might get like a half-day wear out of this, but it is absolutely a glorious, intoxicating, highly feminine, citrus, soft, floral vanilla with very, very sweet tonka bean in it. An absolute gem of a fragrance at like 20-something dollars. Eternia, yes, yes, and more yes, please. And we get into Lattafa, one of my favorite Middle Eastern houses. I have about 7 and should probably have 17 from Lattafa because there's a lot of good ones and ones that I have sampled. I'm gonna share with you 4 of my favorites because we could be here all day talking about Lattafa. Ameer Oud Intense. This one here, It is like a softer sister to By the Fireplace. It gives you that same vibe of like sugar and marshmallows and vanilla and woodiness and lots of great sweetness, but it doesn't have the smokiness of By the Fireplace. The longevity on this, I would say, is moderate to a little bit longer, not super long longevity. And it's just a beautiful, sweet, cozy fragrance. I think I got this huge bottle for somewhere in the $30-ish range, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Next, we get into one of my favorite purchases of 2021. Let me just give a quick shout out to Adriana DC, my friend across the pond, who introduced me to some of these fragrances that I'm talking about today. The way she described them, I just knew that I had to have them, and I'm so glad that I listened to her recommendations. Qaa'ed from Lattafa has to be one of my favorite spicy, sweet, leathery purchases, maybe ever, but certainly of 2021. This beautiful bottle is about $30. Yes, it's plastic, ASMR. But it looks opulent and it smells amazing, and the longevity on this is so impressive. You get cinnamon and cardamom and saffron and leather. I think there's some cedar in here and certainly some oud. It's an oudy fragrance, and I would say that it leans masculine with sweet touches. For $30-something, this is a steal, and it comes in beautiful packaging if that matters to you. You know, we put the packaging away, so who really cares? Oh, but this is just an amazing fragrance. Next, we have Opulent Musk in a really pretty bottle. This fragrance here took me by surprise. I sprayed it and it stayed put for forever, at least 25 years. It seemed like it lasted. It's got citrus at the top and some saffron. There's a lemon and a saffron note in here. Some florals as well, like white florals, and then musk. What you get mostly in here is like the saffron and the musk. The lemon opens up prominently in the beginning and it stays with you for quite a while, but I would say the star players in here are definitely the musk and the saffron with hints of that lemon and some florals as well. Beautiful fragrance. Another one that I think was highly affordable, somewhere in the $30 to $50 range, maybe 40-something dollars, and has nuclear lasting power. Then I have a fragrance that I may not be wearing very often, maybe once in a blue moon, but that works super well on my husband, is Maahir Black in the stallion kind of bottle here. This is a rough and tough Rough Rider fragrance. It is heavily smoky, incensey, leather, very earthy. It's got some aromatic notes in it. It is very, very highly masculine. Smoky and dark, not one that I would advise ladies to wear unless they like adventurous, masculine leaning fragrances. It lasts forever. My husband puts it on and he smells amazing, like a mysterious vampire lord in it or something. This is some nuclear, heavy, winter, rough, leather, smoky, like I said, spicy, incensey stuff. about Rasasi next. There's so many more from this house that I want to explore. I have about 7 or 8 fragrances, all of which I think are wonderful. I want to talk about 3. You already know about Jasmine Wisp. Like, how many times has Jasmine Wisp been talked about on YouTube? I'm going to talk about her again this spring. Beautiful fragrance. Yes, I have that, but let me talk about 3 others that don't get a whole lot of light here. One is the gorgeous Ruhi Tobacco. The bottle reminds me a lot of Victoria's Secret, like the lacy bottles. This is said to be a dupe for Yves Saint Laurent Belle de Opium. Ignore the note structure on Fragrantica because it doesn't tell you exactly what this is like. This is very sweet, highly feminine to me. I get a lot of like florals and vanilla and just a sweetness, like a white floral laced with a lot of sweetness. Really a beautiful feminine fragrance, one of those sort of highly womanly fragrances, and a gem of a bottle. I think I featured this, I know I featured this in my affordable and hidden gems video part 1. I'll be doing a part 2 very soon. Stay tuned for that. But you can go check out that video. This is one of the first ones that I featured because it is just phenomenal and very inexpensive. Then there's Qasamat Rasana, which I learned about through Chris at the Perfume Nest, and she learned about it through Melissa at Melissa Jean. What a gorgeous gem of a fragrance. It has crisp, clean notes in it. At the top, there's apple and there's some citrus, like some lemon. And then you get this really, like, I don't know how to describe it, but like a crisp, leather, woody fragrance that's easy for ladies to wear. And you get that citrus. I'm about to stick this up my nose. Oh, the atomizer fell off. Hang on. Crisis averted. We recovered the atomizer. This is a beautiful fragrance. It's one of those fragrances that makes you feel classy and clean without overwhelming you with florals or like a traditional kind of smell. It is a very sort of clean, modern smell. There's a touch of like aromatic earthiness in this too, but for the most part, like this crisp leather with a little bit of citrus, and it just feels clean and crisp, and I love it. Then there is one that smells almost like a cross between like Tom Ford's Black Orchid and Mugler's Alien. Marry those two. Orchid Prairie. This is from the La Yukawam line from Rasasi, the same line as Jasmine Wisp, Ambergris Showers, and a few others. I describe this as a really thick, syrupy grape juice poured over wet, rotting wood. Sounds disgusting, but it's not. It's actually quite a beautiful fragrance. Add on top of that a hint of like chocolate and earthiness, like dirty earthiness, and you might have something like this. It's a unique fragrance that's hard to describe and one that's nuclear in performance. Orchid Prairie. Not even gonna pull out the next 2, but I just want to give a nod to 2 fragrances that everyone knows and a lot of people love and some people hate from Swiss Arabian. Casablanca, which I call like my boozy apple liquor. It's like a fermented apple that has turned into some kind of alcohol, and it's woody and it's beautiful, and it's one that I slept on for a long time. And then of course, we all know Shagaf Oud, which some people compare to Lancome Oud Bouquet. I get the comparison. They are very similar. I actually prefer Shagaf Oud most days. It's more easy to wear, if you can believe that, because it's still a strong and potent fragrance and one that can be very, very overwhelming if you're not careful with your sprays. Maybe my favorite Middle Eastern house, and this is why I've saved them for last, is Al Haramain. Everything that I've purchased from Al Haramain has been absolutely wonderful for me. Some more nuclear than others, some maybe softer than others, but none that were losers that I had to send back, give away, or sell. So I can't talk about them all, but I'm going to talk about a bunch, and I might run through them quickly if that's okay with you. Let's start off with the 3 Junoons that I have. I have the Junoon Original, which is very much a powder bomb. This is like baby powder in a bottle. with hints of rose and iris, and I really love the heliotrope that's in here, which gives it even more powderiness than the powder that it already has, and a slightly nutty accord in the background, but mostly powdery, floral, baby powder kind of fragrance. Absolutely nuclear. A spray or two will do you. Don't be dumb like me and overspray and kill all of your loved ones. Be warned. We have Junoon Rose, which is very similar to the regular Junoon in that it is powdery, somewhat floral. This one has ylang ylang in it, and it also has an almond note from an amaretto. It's a little bit sort of creamier from the amaretto, and the heliotrope is still in here. You still get the powder, so that's the main difference. Even though it's called Rose, I think that the other one is actually rosier. The original smells more like a rose, like it has a strong rose note in it, than this where the almond stands out. Then we have the one in the black bottle, which is Junoon Noir, which is said to be a dupe for Dama Bianca. This is a softer fragrance, but still has a lot of presence. I immediately, when I smell this, get purple notes like iris and violet and musk. There's some florals in here. It's soft, it's pretty, it's feminine, and it's an absolute winner on days when you want to smell pretty but not overpowering. Four others from Al Haramain that I want to share with you, and then maybe like an honorable mention or a grand finale. I'm not sure, from a different house. So hang on for that. Let me talk about three from Al Haramain that are from the same line. I'm waiting on a fourth to come in the mail, and it is the Amber Oud line. I just love these bottles. They are everything. They are high performing. They smell great. The quality's great, and the bottles are fantastic. So let's go in the order that I've actually used them. The first one that I used out of the whole bunch last year was the gold edition. I mean, look at that bottle with the plating, really thick glass, indentations in the glass. These are not cheap bottles, the embossing in the cap and all of that. And I think this is real metal as far as I can tell. Anyhow, Amber Oud Gold, the gold edition, is supposed to be a dupe for Herba Pura from Xerjoff, which I have smelled a sample of, and I would say they're pretty similar. This is a fruity, floral, musky bomb that is just beautiful. I think it's feminine. A lot of people think it's unisex. It is absolutely gorgeous, really nuclear. The second one that I wore, and the reason why I have not purchased a full bottle of Baccarat Rouge 540, this is more like the extrait than the original, but nonetheless, it is the Amber Oud Rouge because it smells identical to the extrait sample that I have. Beautiful fragrance, also nuclear performance, just really pretty, and so close to the original. There just really isn't a need. I may still purchase the original one day and get a wild hair, but look at everything that I have to go through here because it only takes 2 or 3 sprays with this. The third in the series and its own masterpiece is a dupe, we think, or inspired by, or whatever, of Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford, and it's the Amber Oud Tobacco edition. What can I say? This is wonderful, fabulous, spicy. You get cinnamon, you get other spices, vanilla, tobacco, a woodiness in here, very much like Tobacco Vanille, just as smooth and just as wonderful. Love this, also nuclear performance. Last one from Al Haramain, and don't go away after this, I have one more for you from a different house. It's Oud 36 Nuit. The cap has split on me, which makes me sad. I don't know why, but ooh, did you hear? Magnetic cap. It's in this alien orb looking bottle. This is a powerhouse of a fragrance, very much like Oud Bouquet with some masculine flavor to it. And I've said this in other videos, I spray this and it goes on and on and on and on and on for about 36 hours and will not wash out of your clothes until you put your clothes in the laundry. And even afterward, you might still smell it on there. Finally, the last fragrance that I believe is from a Middle Eastern house based on the design and based on the labeling. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, still go take a look at this fragrance because it's beautiful. It is from the Attar collection, Khaltat Night. I got a decant of this from Lulu here on YouTube and just fell in love. This is cherry and cinnamon and vanilla and musk and a winter delight. Really, really beautiful. Sort of in the same vein as like Angel's Share, but with a Middle Eastern twist. It's got a lot more musk than Angel's Share comes off, and definitely heavy on the cherry and the cinnamon in here. Absolutely beautiful, intoxicating fragrance. So those were my Middle Eastern fragrances. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments about these. What do you think of this lineup? And what would you add as an absolute must-try Middle Eastern fragrance? Would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching the video. I will see you in the next one. Take care, friends.